Media coverage of voter suppression and voting rights legislation is killing it. It is as detrimental to the legislation passing as Joe Manchin and the filibuster. When media, and this is every outlet that I've seen, when they cover voting rights legislation, they speak of it in terms of civil rights. America automatically attaches civil rights to African Americans. So when a media outlet runs a story about election workers feeling intimidated and being afraid, and they show an African American woman, automatically there's a portion of our society that tunes out and is no longer sympathetic to that particular issue. If they showed the senior citizen Caucasian woman who volunteers as an election worker who's being intimidated or who feels fear for working the polls, you get a different response from America. When you show suburban white women how their vote won't count, how legislatures have passed laws that allow them to throw out the vote of the people and send the electors and the electeds that they choose in place of who we voted for, you get a different response. Media tends to talk about the 70 million people that voted for Donald Trump. I don't often, if ever, hear media talk about the 81 million people that didn't. 81 million of us didn't vote for them. It's no different than how they cover the mask mandates in the school board meetings. They always show the fringe who are the crazies that they want to call them, who don't want their children to wear masks. They don't interview the 90% of parents that do think that their children need to wear masks. Images matter. Narrative matters. What you cover matters. When you put up a story and you show African Americans, automatically some people are going to tune out. This is about the democracy. The actual democratic republic is what's at stake. People in America need to understand that we will not have the way of life that they have been accustomed to. You won't have any rights. Look at Russia. They have elections every year or however often they hold them, but only Putin can win. That's what Donald Trump was trying to set up here. And he is not the end of the road. American democracy is on the line, and how media covers it matters. Stop talking about souls to the polls. That is an inherently African American tradition. Stop talking about not being able to hand out water and food. That is not the issue. Joe Biden mistakenly believes that, we'll overcome all of those things because we've overcome them in the past, and vote for him. What he needs to understand is that if he doesn't ensure that federal voter rights legislation is passed, he will not be reelected because they will overturn it. Not to mention the fact that a lot of us won't bother to go vote again. We won't bother. The same energy that you use to pass the COVID relief bill, infrastructure, bring it to bear on federal voting rights legislation. But the media is killing the coverage. They're killing the legislation just by the images that they use. They're not innocent in it. It's intentional. I even would go so far as to say there are some in media ownership that don't want all of us to have a right to vote. They fall in line with those that want to see autocracy. The tragedy is most of their kids may or may not even be in the in crowd and wind up being subjected to the same oppression that everybody else would be subjected to. I say, media, stop killing the legislation by putting up images of only those people that America are not concerned with. What's your perspective?